What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to DSM Media. We are here today to break down the Eagles' first loss of the season as they are now 8-1 to the hands of the Washington Commanders. I'm one half of your host here today, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. To my right, my co-host, Scotty. Check him out on Twitter at Scotty Drown. And we are streaming to you guys live exclusively here on DSM Media's YouTube channel. So if you want to be interactive throughout today's show, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and head on over to the comment section. That's where we can pull up your thoughts, comments, questions, and concerns. It's going to be a fun show, but it's going to be an interesting show, my man. So let's get right into it. I know you're still feeling the pain of last night, as am I. And I want to preface it by this. Let's get the blame of the uncontrollable out of the way. I want to preface the show by saying the Eagles did not lose the game last night because of the referees. Okay, they just didn't. They had so many chances, so many self-inflicted mistakes, so much going wrong from the play calling standpoint on offense and defense throughout the entire game for them to couple all that up for a loss. However, to just ignore the fact of how bad the referees were in the fourth quarter specifically and act like they were not a total catastrophe is ridiculous to me. So let's get the refereeing out of the way, Scotty. Which one do you want to start with? Which one?
The first thing that I would like to say about the referees is that, like you said, we cannot blame this game on the refs. You cannot blame this loss on the refs. But I know something that would make me pleased or satisfied even after the loss, right? After I take a loss in which a call did end the game, right?
Yes.
Refs get fined or suspended. They need to be punished for what they do wrong. Like, that's the problem here. They have no repercussions of their mistakes.
They just get to go on and call a game.
Players go out there, they hit people in the helmet, they get fines, they get suspended, right? They get thrown out of games. Refs just sit there, they get their paycheck, and they'll go and get the next one the next week, mess that game up too, and just go on like nothing happened. And that's what bothers me the most, is that they can come out with these bullshit answers after the games and just move on. Like, why do they get to move on? I don't get that. But my least favorite call, my man, I know what you were going to ask there. The one at the end is the most frustrating because it ends the game.
Yeah, we'll get
to
that.
The one that blows me the most is the Goddard face mask.
This one right here?
Not only, the non-face mask, man.
You talking about this one?
Yeah, man.
That's God.
You have one job.
I think 93's vision is a little obstructed. I don't know if you can see from there, Scotty.
You have one job.
I don't know what's happening right here. And then there's the side judge too, who had a clear line of vision as well on the play.
And they let him return it for a touchdown, like rubbing in our face.
And this is the point right here. They should never been in the situation where a couple bad calls can ultimately seal your fate. But like Absolutely. It just. The one that's so minuscule because C.J. Gardner-Johnson was able to intercept the very next pass was it all started with that. Like, it just felt like Washington, you saw the time of possession. The Eagles couldn't get off the field. The third down numbers were ridiculous, and we're going to get into all that. But Washington had everything going for them. And it's still late in the game. It was a 2-point game. And it's like, here we go. And you have the late hit out of bounds when literally the wide receiver's body is still 110% in play. You can go back to the 4th and 1. Now, I get it. They probably would have picked up the first down anyway, but I texted you about it. The Kayvon Wallace hit. Terry McLaurin gets rocked and then wrapped up. Scotty, he never got within 2 yards. At max, it should have been 4th and 2. It was a little outside 2 yards. They gave it like 4th and half a foot. Okay? They pick up the first down. Then there was the one where the snap goes over Heineke's head. Now, I don't know if anybody else picked up on this. I think that ball did not get back to the line of scrimmage.
The line of scrimmage, bro. It did not, man.
It did not get back to the line of scrimmage. That's intentional grounding.
Just move on.
No one talks about it. And then you had the Goddard face mask. And you ultimately just spot Washington 3 points. And then that's not enough. That's not enough because you put them up 5, you miss that call. And here's the best part. They're all about player safety, right? So what ended the game? The picture is right below you. Everyone knows what happened. Everyone watched what happened. So let's get right into it. You blow that whistle to ultimately end the game. You cannot end the game like that, man. You just cannot throw that flag in that situation. And you throw it because of player safety, because he gave himself up, right? But then you ultimately miss a dude's head getting ripped off his body, which is what, Scotty? Player safety. And you and I were joking around before the show. I know it's not in the rule book. I know the missed face mask call is not reviewable, but it bothers my soul that they can go back and review whether or not this dude was touched before he ran it back for touchdown. They made the right call. He was touched. But you can go back and watch it and just act like you didn't just watch you miss that call.
And then you have Mike Pereira on the broadcast saying, yeah, we've been discussing whether these things should be. What is the holdup? You review everything else, but you're refusing to review that. It's just face mask. You cannot review face mask and overturn that. Like, it makes me sick, man. And it feels like it always happens to Dallas Goedert, too. You remember that Dallas game from a couple years ago? Same exact type of stuff where we just have to gloss over that and act like it didn't happen.
Remember when he got called for on that? Remember when he got called for
the pass interference
or something? It was incredibly weird.
Pass interference.
A strange feeling about this game, man. Yeah, for sure.
And cringy. I think cringy is a really good word for this loss. It was a very cringe-worthy loss. Not only because of the refs, but because of the rest of the stuff that we're about to get into here.
But let me get to the game, the call, excuse me, that ultimately ended the game, Scott.
Yeah. For
so many reasons, you can't throw that flag. I already said this, but you cannot end the game like that. You ultimately took 2 possessions away from the Eagles in the fourth quarter when you spotted Washington 3 points from the missed face mask, and then we were on the cusp of getting the ball back if you don't throw that flag with a minute and a half left. And you don't know what happens there. I'm not saying the Eagles ultimately win the game, but you ultimately take the ball out of their hands and do not let that happen. And here's why. It's third down. Game on the line. Guys running 100 miles per hour. And that's not the excuse. I'm not saying because they're playing hard, if Heineke ran and slid feet first and Brandon Graham hit him late that they shouldn't have thrown a flag. I'm not saying anything like that at all. But BG and Hassan Reddick did not make hard contact. They did not make contact to the head or neck. BG tried to hold himself up. And the fact that that a quarterback can ultimately take a knee as a way to give himself up. And I know you can do it because on interceptions, when you can run and you can take a knee. I'm saying third down, he didn't just snap the ball, take 2 steps to the right and take a knee to keep the clock moving, Scotty. He tried to make a play. Nothing was there. He was under pressure. He curls up in a ball, and at the last second, takes a knee, which you can't tell in that situation if he trips. The ref doesn't blow the whistle right away, so BG doesn't know if he's about to get back up. And they go and make contact, and he throws the flag. That should not be a way of giving yourself up. And then this dork getting up and celebrating his flop.
So whack.
And celebrating the baiting of the referees into that call to end the game. Then he wants to talk to Eagles fans after the game. Then he wants to put the chains on and drink on the plane ride back as if you didn't throw for 211 yards and an interception and a strip sack and throw
as if they didn't try to replace you, dog, with Carson Wentz.
I can't stand Taylor Heineke. I never have, and now I can't stand him on another level.
And bro, one more thing with that call. Once again, you can't throw that flag. My main thing, they had been letting these guys play through that whistle all night. You saw that the touchdown from Brian Robinson in a normal setting. In a normal setting, forward progress would be stopped. They allowed that to go on for seconds, on minutes, as far as him reaching out for the goal line. And now, Taylor Heineke drops down, and now you just can't even touch him. It's ridiculous. They played through the whistle the entire night. Washington took advantage of it the entire night with a lot of those short yardage first downs where they're just scrumming it up for fucking 5 minutes. But then this dude gets down on a knee and gives himself up on a third down.
Someone had the greatest tweet after the game. Because to the point, the ref didn't even – he took – from the time he took a knee to the time contact was made, the ref didn't even have enough time to blow the whistle yet. So how can you throw a flag for a late hit If it was in that split of a second for you not to blow the whistle.
And Heineke flopped on top of everything.
100%.
He also flopped.
He knew what he was doing. And I think it hits home even more, Scotty. You and I watched the game week 1. How many times did Jalen Hurts slide feet first in the open field?
And get hit.
In the head 3 times. Not a flag. But they end the game on that note last night.
Oh, man.
All right.
There it is. That's the vent. That's the vent.
Had to get that off my chest, because I'll say it again. I know it just seems like we put all the blame on the Zebras last night. No.
Not
the
at
Eagles
all.
need to be held accountable. The Eagles ultimately did not lose the game because of the refs, but my God, it was a struggle.
They definitely ate it a little bit. Yeah, it was a struggle to watch. And like I said, cringe is the perfect word for it. From the refs to the fumbles to the whole thing that we're about to get into here. It was cringeworthy on both sides. It hurts to lose to the Commanders, but yeah, man. I guess we should get started on the actual game. But
let's start breaking this thing down.
Needed that vent session, nonetheless.
I want to throw this to you first. And this is a great segue. Who do you put the most blame on for this loss? Is it Jonathan Gannon or is it Nick Sirianni? Because both need to be held accountable, and both, I thought, came out on 10 days prep with horrible game plans for this Washington Commanders football team.
It's really tough, honestly, between Sirianni and Gannon. Like, I almost want to put all the blame on Sirianni, but I almost feel like I have to go to Gannon, man. The defense was miserable to watch all night. Mm-hmm. I mean, you see the wide open third down catches. I mean, no pressure on Taylor Heineke. It was very upsetting to watch. Washington ran 81 plays to Philly's 47, so obviously we couldn't get a stop. 330 total yards to 264. 49 rush attempts for the
Commanders.
The Washington Commanders. Only 3.1 yards per carry, believe it or not, which is kind of crazy. Time of possession, 40 minutes to 19 for the Eagles. 4 first downs from penalties from the defensive side of the ball. Unfortunately, those are called. They are dumb plays in a sense, even if they aren't the right calls. And overall, what I would like to call Jonathan Gannon's effort, his scheme, his game plan, it was lazy. It's a lazy scheme. It's a lazy game plan. The whole idea of his defense and no risks, it's so lazy. All it does is allow him to sit there and call the same play over and over and over again and allow your defensive talent to take over and make the plays for you to make you look good. Literally, he does not call. It's like he doesn't call a defense. It's just a base package, and then you adjust if you're the players, right? And you have to make those in-game adjustments. It's ridiculous. It's lazy, and it seems like it takes a lot of the accountability off of Gannon in a sense of just having to call a different play on each and every single play of the series. So it really disgusts me, man, and we see it from time to time. And I don't know where the Gannon hype comes from, man. I get it. The defense has been solid. It's been really good all season. There's a ton of talent on this defense for us to be giving up 32. I guess not 32 technically, but over 20 points to the Commanders, who have only averaged 17, right?
People wanted to eat that play. Cowboys fans and other fan bases really wanted to eat that play up, right? I saw a couple tweets. Double-digit loss to the Commanders. Okay. No. It was a vintage JG night, right?
Yeah, there we go. Perfect way to call it.
And it's bad. It's bothersome because it started to feel like we were turning a new page with him. And now I know people had their concerns about the run defense and his scheme, but at the end of the day, the Eagles were holding teams to 16.9 points per game. And it's bothersome to me because how do you go from Monday Night Football week 2 and you had that game plan against Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson and that Minnesota offense, and you do what you were able to do in shutting those key guys down, yet you come out with that, like I said, vintage JG. He called that game last night like he had last year's secondary, like he had last year's linebackers, like he had last year's pass rush. Dude, and I'm glad you brought up the run defense because everyone is up in arms about it, and it wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination. Don't get me wrong. Washington only averaged slightly over 3 yards per carry. The Eagles' run defense was not the reason they lost that game last night. They lost the game because they were unable to get off the field on third downs. They were unable to create negative plays with their front four, with their pass rush. That is the bottom line. That is the end of the story. They averaged like 3.1 yards per carry. That did not kill the Eagles. They really did not break off any big-time runs. You know, we normally would see a 20-yard run, a 25-yard run. You really didn't get – I don't know if they had a single rush go for a first down with 10 to go.
No, I don't think so.
The bottom line is they got put in a lot of 3rd and 4, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1 situations, and the defense was unable to make to create a negative play. Yeah. And the pass coverage, dude, the scheme, the game plan. Scotty, why was it so soft? Why was it that vintage zone? I know people were coming at Darius Slay, and he had a rough go of it last night. I texted you about it in the first half. Slay did not have a great night. But I look back on some of the plays. That was not one-on-one, man. No. Man up on man.
It's a zone.
It was a soft zone. You had the one to Dotson on Washington's first possession where it looks like Slay from the camera point of view is in coverage, but really he's just the bracket on the back end, and he found the soft spot in the zone. Like, it was really tough to watch Jonathan Gannon call that game last night. And like I said, the most worrying part of it is you had 10 days preparation for Taylor effing Heineke.
And, bro, you can't tell me that Avonte Maddox makes you switch up your scheme that much, right? Like, from what you're doing game to game. Like, Avonte Maddox can't make that much of a difference. And, again, you had CGJ. Mind you, CGJ made one of the plays of the game as far as saving the game for the Eagles, right, with that interception. That was a hell of a play. You had him guarding Terry McLaurin one-on-one in a lot of different cases last night. You had Terry McLaurin exclusively say, do not put a safety on me. You know, and it makes me think, like, why the hell is the safety on Terry McLaurin? It doesn't make sense to me. Well, so what that shows me, they're not having Slay follow him around. You know what I mean? It just –
Scotty, he went back to putting the pass rushers, dropping back into coverage last night. He had Robert Quinn in coverage, dropping back into coverage. Why did they trade for Robert Quinn? Why?
They don't even let him lose.
22 snaps. Since he's been an Eagle, he's played 27 and 22 snaps in 3 starts as a Philadelphia Eagle. Why? He's not old. He's not past his prime. He was chewing up snap counts in Chicago, so he still has a high motor.
Yeah.
Why is he not playing? I like Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat made one of the biggest plays on defense last night on the first possession. Josh Sweat should not be playing almost 18 more snaps per game than Robert Quinn.
And I would even take it a step further, man. You're down a defensive tackle right now. Move BG inside. You have done it before. BG
he did it a couple times last night, but not enough. Not enough. Like,
not enough.
You could literally playing more than Robert Quinn.
Too much. Robert Quinn on the outside, Josh Sweat on the opposite, and then boom, you mix them up in the inside with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick and Robert Quinn. Like, we just don't even get to see these guys do what they do. Like, Hassan Reddick, man, it's like every other game he's dropping back in coverage 80% of the time. It's really frustrating, and it's what KC pointed out in the DSM group chat about that 5-2 defense, bro. That shit is disgusting, man. It's disgusting. Yep. And I don't know why we keep going back to it as our base defense. It gets exposed every time, and then they want to make adjustments late in the game. And fourth quarter, sure, defense tightened up finally. Why do we wait
where
until
was it
then?
Right, exactly.
Start
Why
the game like that. It doesn't make sense.
The decision from the jump. Scotty, picture a world in which this Eagles front, let's just say they rush 5 or 4. You have Robert Quinn on one end, Hassan Reddick on another edge, and you got Javon Hargrave and Brandon Graham, or Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox up the middle. It's not rocket science, man. How many times do we have to come out and say it? And he's dropping these pass rushers back into coverage, and it's mind-boggling to me, man. So Jonathan Gannon was a dumpster fire last night. It was one of those vintage games. And
it was another one of those things where it's like, oh, the Eagles get up 14-7. Now let's get cute. And that was on offense and defense, man. It's really bothersome.
100%. Let's flip over to the other side of the ball, because we just mentioned how Gannon, if he would have he made the proper adjustments late in the game, but by that point it was too little too late. Why not start with those strengths? Same thing here with Nick Sirianni, Scotty. It's not rocket science. Why, oh, why did Nick have to flash back to week 3 Nick Sirianni in the first half last night? Why on God's green earth would Miles Sanders only have one effing carry in the first half of a football game? Not to mention, it's not like you only ran it to the running backs twice. Boston Scott had one carry. Miles Sanders had one carry in the first half. Scotty, I know they scored, but you texted me the exact same thing while the drive was. It's like they overthink things. Yep. Why was Boston Scott in the game for the first 3 plays of the Jalen Hurts touchdown? Why? Like, I don't know what.
Why this week?
It doesn't make any sense where he started that first drive. They scored, right? So whatever, but it's just something you look at like, Nick, what are we doing here?
Getting cute. That's what that is, man. It's getting cute, and it's kind of what we talked about before the game, bro. And I kind of mentioned it when I was talking about Smitty, is like, just need a reason to go a certain way. And it backfired last night, right? Like, you were just dialed in on certain things. It's like they want to do things to get guys involved, but it's more or less, you need to do things that are working. That is my problem, man. And the biggest turning point for me in the game for the offensive side, and I think I told this to you this morning, the interception, right? And we can talk about the interception itself. We can talk about the throw. We can talk about Jalen Hurts' decision to throw it into double coverage. The ball was a dot. It was in AJ's hands.
It was a dit.
It was a dit, man. And I was going to get to that because they went against all of my rules last night. That's what made me so upset.
They played with
discipline, identity, turnovers. They lost all 3 battles last night, and it's almost like I created it for them to lose those 3 battles. I mean,
it's almost like it's almost like that's how you lose a game to a lesser talented team.
It's literally how you lose a game.
That's what happens last night, right?
And my biggest thing with that interception, Dylan, run the goddamn football.
Yeah, I know where you're going with it.
Run the goddamn football.
We had the conversation last night.
4 plays on that drive before that ball was intercepted. All 4 passing plays.
Yeah.
You had 3 passing plays that led to a first down, and then on first down, he throws that interception. Run the ball on the first down. Run the ball on the first down of the first part of the drive. Like, run the football, man. They just had a long, extended touchdown drive right before we got the ball back. And you go back.
That was a field goal because at that point it was 14 to 10. And what did I text you?
You're right.
The Eagles got the ball back, and what did I text you?
Score here, it's over.
7 here, and the game's over. 21 to 10. That game would have been over right then and there. You're right. It was a dot. It was a dit. It was fluky. It goes off AJ's. It somehow
it was fluky
over the shoulder. But it was not a smart decision, if we're being honest.
It wasn't.
But
not in that point in the game.
The only spot it could have been, and it ends up getting back into the safety's arms. But like you said, just run the ball. Scotty, I'll take it. You use your timeouts to get the ball back, and then you give Washington enough time to put 3 more up on the board because you pass 3 and out. You don't run the ball on first down to make them use that last timeout, Scotty. I'm saying, like, what is he thinking, dude? Like, he was so bad last night. Yeah. Both coordinators, both coaches on both sides of the ball. The game plan, the execution, the mental errors, the mistakes. It starts with them.
Yeah.
They were the main problem last year.
I agree, man. I agree.
And another thing, he was my player of the game. I thought he was going to have a coming out party. 1 catch for 7 yards. Now, obviously, he got hobbled on the first or second possession, and we don't know how long that lingered, but he played the rest of the game. He changed his cleats and played. So I don't really know what the issue was with A.J. Brown. You and I, again, we're going back and forth last night. It was like when the Eagles were kind of in that flux of not moving the ball down the field and having 3. Jalen was locked in on AJ on third down after third down, and they weren't executing.
That was Hurts. That was his one flaw last night.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, I'm good on Hurts last night.
Yeah, I think
his one flaw was AJ Brown, and that just being locked on him in certain situations where you need to look elsewhere. And quite honestly, AJ Brown, you know, I like you said, he tweaked his ankle, whatever it was, his foot,
knee. Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever that was. He's obviously not 100% in that game, right? He wasn't moving right. He just didn't look right even when the ball was coming his way. So you gotta trust your other teammates in that situation. I'm with you all the way, man. And my biggest question to Sirianni, why does it take us to get down for you to start running the football?
That's what
in
I'm
certain
saying,
instances, man?
Scotty.
It
It
doesn't
makes
make
no sense.
sense, man.
What is the I in DIT, Scotty? What's the I?
Identity.
Identity. And what is the Eagles' identity? Whether that's what they want it to
Run
be or
the
not. I know
football.
they want to
Time
air
of
the football out.
possession. That's our identity. And the Washington stole it from us. That's what hurts about this game.
But they didn't even do it successfully. That's the difference in the game.
They didn't do it good.
One team ran the ball and stuck with it, but they only averaged 3.1 yards per carry. The other team averaged over 4.5 yards per carry, but completely abandoned it. And that's the problem, man. And that's what I mean about overthinking things. And just, I know they want to air the ball out. I know that's the way the league is going. I know that's what Howie and Nick and Jeff, I know that's what they all want to do. And I'm not suggesting whatsoever that in order for the Eagles to win, obviously they have to go back to what they did in the second half of last year. No, we see the capabilities with the passing attack. But why not start with the run and let that open up everything for the passing offense? Imagine Dallas Goedert and A.J. Brown over the middle of the field if you're able to run the ball and they had to bring a linebacker or an extra safety up in the box to slow down the run. Imagine the RPO, the play action.
Yeah.
If you start with the run.
Yeah. There's a lot of shotgun. There's a lot of shotgun action last night. Not even. It didn't even feel like we ran the RPOs a lot, man. Honestly,
they really didn't, dude.
They really didn't run the RPO a ton last night, man. And to D-Rab's point here, I'm not mad at a toss up to AJ. If you do that on the first play of the series, I'm not mad. I'm more upset that they did 4 passing plays in a row after they got a first down. After you get that first down, okay, you did 3 passing plays. Run the football right now. Settle down a little bit, man. Slow it down a little bit.
And I'll tell you why I could be mad at it, because it wasn't a toss-up. That's the problem. Now, yes, it hit. I know it hit him in the hand. So
I know what you mean, though. Two defenders.
It was in stride, over the shoulder, bracketed in double coverage. It was not a play where AJ can turn, where AJ can high point the ball and go and be the Minka touchdown against Pittsburgh. He can high point the ball. He's the bigger, stronger. It had to be in stride. So it wasn't him able to go make a play. It's him like this. Ball hits off his forearm because it's such a contested catch when you're running 100 miles an hour. I understand like how crazy it was to see that the ball,
and you don't need it. You don't need it.
He didn't, but that's not only on Jalen. To your point, Nick, run the effing football. Calm down the quarterback. Calm down the offense, and start to impose your will, man. Like, I don't know. I'm letting a lot out.
20 rushes for Philly.
We're trying to say the same thing here. I think I agree with you. But the point was that it was a different.
Those were a lot different. You literally had the safety on the inside. You had the corner behind AJ,
and it was in stride over the shoulder. He couldn't high point the ball and go be the athlete. Go use his hands. It had to be in. So that's the Minka touchdown.
He's off balance. He's full speed. There's no way he can get up for that ball.
And here we go. And we haven't even talked about this yet.
That one makes me sick.
The Quez, man, so much went wrong with this. Like, Quez, just trust your hands, brother. Like, if he trusts his hands, Scotty, he's not even hitting the ground in the first place. It's a 75-yard touchdown.
It
changes everything. B, man, you're not A.J. Brown. Just stay down. Just stay down.
Bro.
Just stay down. B, if you're going to get up, you got to know you got to protect the ball, Quez. That
one hurt.
Scott, you can have the missed face mask, spot them 3 points, the game-ending call. That was the play that ended everything. And what was such poor timing was, not only did I have the plus 800 Quez Watkins anytime touchdown that killed me, but I had just sent out a tweet throughout in that game that they will not lose this game. And here comes a Jalen Hurts drive. You remember 2 plays later, he hits Quez in stride and Quez botches it, man.
It was and I get what you're saying by that end of the game, because when that happened, I was like, okay, there is no way that we're meant to win this game, because everything.
And that was with what, 5 minutes left, 4 minutes left?
Everything that could go wrong went wrong at that point, and there's just no way around that sometimes. So, it hurt, man. And you look across the board, right? Every single one of our skill players, aside from our running backs, AJ, maybe
I
not
know,
so
man.
much the drop. I'm not going to like penalize him for the drop, but ultimately hit him in the hands. That turns into an interception. It was a mistake, right? He only had 7 yards as well, only 1 catch. Goddard, 3 catches. He had a touchdown, 23 yards, fumble, huge fumble. Quez Watkins, 4 receptions, 80 yards, 1 huge fumble.
Yep.
And Smitty, he had 6 receptions, 39 yards, a touchdown. He also had a fumble in this game. So, like, every single skill player dropped the ball in this game. And, like, when does this happen, man? We talked about it yesterday. Turnovers, right? Turnovers. That's what we've dominated the entire season. And every single one of our best players let us down in that sense yesterday. That's what really hurts, man.
Yeah, and I think the additional thing is, like, I think you had mentioned it to me last night. They were pass happy, but you just read those numbers. They had really no success, man. But they did. I don't know how to describe this game.
Yeah.
They did there was 2 possessions in a row where Jalen was hurry up, moving the ball down the field. You had the Quez big catch. Like, they had plays, but I don't know.
There's these stretches,
he threw
man.
For what, 170?
170. That's not great. You know what I mean? It had what, 12 incompletion or no, 9 incompletions. 9 incompletions. So I mean, nothing crazy there, but
like Dallas Goedert couldn't have had more than 3 catches for 23 yards.
Yeah, like who's strapping him down? I mean, I don't know, man. I'm looking at it. Obviously, the Washington Commanders held the ball for a ridiculous amount of time, right? But the Eagles just go in these stretches offensively throughout this season, right? They've been able to overcome it because they get out to such large leads. They go through these stretches offensively where it's 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, like 3 or 4 drives in a row.
And then what do they say?
Crippling. It can be crippling.
And then what do? Oh, shit, we got to run the ball.
Got to run the ball.
13 play drive. And just going back, because I'm all over the place here, and 100%. It was such a, like
Absolutely.
I said, that's why I started the show with the referee talk, because I didn't want that lingering. That was not why they lost. So many self-inflicted mistakes, the turnovers, the fumbles, the play calling on the game plan on both sides. And that was the more troubling thing, man. You had the 10 days prep for Taylor effing Heineke, and you really had no answer on third down. But to kind of, where did I want to go with that? To kind of go back, to go back to the defensive side, because I'm flip-flopping here. Like, they did to us what we try to do to teams. And while they didn't have a ton of success running the ball, 3.1 yards per carry, 12 play drive points, 13 play drive points, 12 play drive points. And what did it do, Scotty? It kept Jalen Hurts in that offense on the sideline. That's why
out of our defense.
They go up 21-10. That game is over. Say goodnight. Gift wrap it up to Washington. Eagles come away. They're 9-0.
Yeah.
That, like, there was you could point to so many things that changed the game. That interception changed the game for that reason. The Quez fumble ultimately ended it.
The 3 and out of halftime.
You
can't do that. You can't do that when you're down in a game.
Well, think about that series for a second. You give up points. You use your timeouts to get the ball back.
Yeah.
You go 3 and out. Bad clock management. You give them the ball. They get 3 more points before the half. You come out with the ball, 3 and out. Give them the ball right back. Think about those 4 series.
That's points, it right there.
3 and out points. Think about that.
That was it right there. That was kind of the game, right? After that, it was just a whole mess of fumbles and turnovers and fluky plays, penalties. Before that, it's that intermission right there at the end of the second quarter where Washington's able to pile on 6 more points or however much that was, 2 field goals. And then right out of the break, you go 3 and out and give the ball right back for 3 more.
Can I ask you one more question about just kind of the ins and outs of this game? I saw a lot of people bashing Sirriani, and while I'm going to bash Sirriani, I'm not going to bash him for this decision. Did you see all the pushback? And I don't know how you felt about it when there was the penalty on Washington for the 55-yard field goal, and he didn't accept the penalty.
Yeah,
I was fine with it because ultimately, okay, you can push it back to 60, right? But it's third down, guys.
Right.
So either you allow an opportunity for a big play, you allow an opportunity for the refs to play another factor and pick up a first down, you allow them to make it even closer. Like, if he picks up 6 yards,
7 yards. Exactly.
So 55 is no chip shot. You weren't,
and that's
moving it
most
back 10
likely
yards.
that's most likely what they would do there, right?
Yeah.
They would go for a short pass, see if they can maybe get the first down, but ultimately get closer to the field goal again.
Yeah,
And
and
then
not
you're
to
taking a
mention you
54
needed the
yarder.
ball back at that point, I believe.
Yeah.
So that happened there, and then the decision when Hurts takes the sack before the final defensive drive. Hurts takes the sack, 4th down, they punt. And then you obviously had the miscue. I don't know who whether that was Nakobe Dean or whoever was supposed to pick up that block. Let him come right through. Siposs makes the smart play ultimately.
I love that you bring this up.
People wanted him to go
teams.
for it.
Special teams.
That
is a major
Covey
flaw,
needs to be
man.
cut today.
Yeah.
He brings nothing to the table.
You can't
Punt
throw
return.
Boston Scott back there, Quez Watt. Like, you
Someone.
can't throw one of those guys back there. Kenny Gainwell, like
Exactly.
anybody.
I agree.
They got Gibson returning kicks for them.
Covey gets wrecked.
He gets rocked, man. I'd be worried he's gonna fumble.
But people were up in arms that Sirianni punted the ball there.
Yeah.
I don't know what people were thinking. And like actual like people within the radio industry here in Philadelphia.
And long.
It was about 4th and 15 from your own
like
15. And you had all 3 timeouts to try to get the ball back. Like, okay, I get it. Ultimately, we saw what happened, but without that call, it would have been a success.
Stop. They got the stop, literally.
Right. What, you were going to gift wrap them the ball on your own 15 and give them points regardless? Like, I'm so confused that people gave them backlash for that decision.
I think it's just once you get to that point in the game, it's like nitpicking, right?
Well, guess what, guys? It's not Madden, okay? And it wasn't 4th and 2 where they could QB sneak it. It was 4th and 15. So I don't know what you really wanted to happen there.
So let me ask you this, Dylan. Looking ahead. Did the Washington Commanders, is that like the outline? Is that the blueprint to beat the Philadelphia Eagles? Like, because they averaged 3.1 yards per carry. Like, they did run the ball 49. They doubled us up on run attempts, doubled us up on time of possession. Is that the way you beat the Eagles? Like, I won't lie to you. Washington football doesn't come across to me as a good rushing football team, right? We'll play the Colts next week with Jonathan Taylor. They look revamped in the rushing department.
You have Aaron Jones. You have Derrick
Henry.
Tony Pollard. Saquon
worries
Barkley.
me a little bit, right? Like, worries me a little bit with this rushing defense.
I feel you.
Jordan Davis, maybe 2 games he's back, but
no, I definitely feel you. Like, is that the blueprint? Is that the way you beat this Eagles team? I just have to say, I guess, but no at the same time. It is a great
it's our
way.
Blueprint.
Yeah,
how we win.
No, well, not just that. It's our blueprint in how to beat ourselves, Scotty. So to your point, while Washington had the time of possession and kept Hurts on the sidelines and blah, 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 the Eagles had 3 turnovers. The Eagles had 3 penalties against them that normally are not going to happen. It's just a lot of things that are fluky that aren't going to happen on a consistent basis. And also, it's time for Jonathan Gannon to adjust.
Yeah.
You know what these teams – what did you say on the pregame show last night? Because we brought up the run defense, and you were like, well, Washington's not going to run the ball. Guess what they did? They ran the ball 50 times. So the teams coming forward with the better offensive lines, the better running attacks, are going to try to do it. It's not time for Gannon to change everything. It's time for him to change the third down approach, the secondary. Because if you hold teams to 3.5 yards per carry, you're going to be in a lot of third down situations. Those are the plays you have to get stops and get off the field. Yeah. The soft coverage, the dropping linebackers in the coverage and only rushing 2.
Not linebacker, edge rushers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, miss me with that shit, man.
So, I mean, in hindsight, it is a smart plan for Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, and Aaron Jones, and Saquon Barkley to try to do that against them. But you're also not going to get a missed face mask that results in a fumble. Yeah. You're not going to get the interception off of A.J. Brown's hand into the safety. Quez Watkins getting up and running and getting you're not going to get all those turnovers. The Eagles have been one of the most disciplined teams on both sides of the ball all year. They have limited turnovers all year. Lost that battle for the first time last night.
Do you think the overextended break hurt them? That wonky.
Yeah, it hurt us. It made us feel weird. It had to make them feel weird. It's routine, Scott. It's rhythm for them, right? So to come out of a bye week, so you had your bye week, and then you played Sunday, Thursday, Monday. And
Yeah.
that's a weird schedule, man.
Yeah.
So
It's wonky.
for sure, it had to play somewhat of a factor, not a huge factor, but somewhat at least. But I'll wrap it up kind of with this.
Yeah.
Anyone that's that is overreacting, whether you're an Eagles hater and you think that the Eagles are going to crumble, whether you're an Eagles fan and you're worried about moving forward, please relax.
Yeah.
Please.
One loss.
They are 8-1. You know what the Eagles did, Scotty? They went from first place to first place. They didn't move. And you know what the best part is? You want to know why you can't take social media and Twitter trolls and other fan bases too seriously?
Yeah.
A Vikings fan account with a couple thousand followers on it, so it wasn't a little 2-follower account, actually tweeted that the Vikings are in first place, or the 1 seed now. That's how little ball people like. No, brother, you're actually still the 2 seed.
Huh?
And then
we got the same record, but we beat y'all.
I tweeted it last night. You had, FanDuel Sportsbook with a picture of Kirk Cousins and 8-1 Vikings and Jalen Hurts and 8-1 Eagles, and it says, "Who's the better team?" Retweet for Vikings, like for Eagles. And I was
saw that.
If only these two teams could face each other this season. Oh wait, we already know this answer. Like, this is what I'm talking about the overreaction. You get like. The Bills lost 2 games in a row. And while you and I came on Turf Talk yesterday and hold them accountable, a lot of people still are like, nah, they're the team to beat in the AFC.
Yeah.
But the Eagles dropped the first game of the year in week 9, and it's Panic City. It's funny, man. It really is.
It's funny, man. I'm with you, man. What I'll kind of say is my closing statement, because I'm with you all the way on this. There's no need to panic right now. Relax. It is what it is. Like you said, there was a lot of fluky instances in there. Positives from this game, because there are positives in everything, right?
Say the word.
They still should have won. They
yeah.
still should have won the game. It's only 1 loss. Jordan Davis will be back soon, right? That helps the run defense. My main positive coming out of this game, Jalen Hurts didn't lose us this game.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And
he didn't lose us this game.
You know what's kind of nice about today? Even though there's so much anger and sadness, someone had tweeted, I think it had been 302 days since the Eagles last lost a regular season game.
Regular season, yeah, it was 11 straight. Yep.
And
feels weird.
It was like, it felt weird, and ultimately, and with the way the game ended, it hurt. But it was nice. It's nice today that everyone I have not seen a single person blame Jalen Hurts for the loss last night. And I think everyone's in agreement with that. Jalen Hurts really did nothing last night to cost the Eagles the game.
If anything, he gave us so many chances to win it, right? Quez Watkins, I mean, he put us in good positions, right? And even, my buddy texted me last night and mentioned how some of those plays where we actually ran the football, Jalen Hurts called an audible to run the football.
Good.
So, it was originally a pass play, and he calls it into a run. So even he was trying to get us going the right way.
I'll throw you one more positive. Howie, extend the man today.
Yeah, that dude's a playmaker.
CJ Gardner-Johnson needs to stay in midnight green for as long as possible. Thank you, New Orleans. Here's your 5th and 6th rounder. I'll take him. Thank you very much.
He's like our Malcolm Jenkins,
but so much
different
more,
version, right?
Yeah, like Malcolm Jenkins was never this playmaker, this interception. Like, dude, it's unreal watching this guy transition to a new position and just get so comfortable so quick with it and be a difference maker. And that's kind of I know we want to wrap it up here, but that's kind of what really bothered me about Gannon last night. We've come on here and praised CJ Gardner-Johnson and Darius Slay and James Bradbury for their play this year. And it's like Gannon said, whoa. I'm going to strip them of that. Like, he just put Bradbury and Gardner-Johnson and Slay in positions to look foolish last night. Slay off the ball in a bracket. CGJ lined up in the slot against McLaurin one-on-one on an island when he's playing safety for the first 8 games. Like, a lot of stupid stuff, but extend him today, man.
Yeah, get that done, man. I want him locked up in midnight green. I understand Bradbury, the concern there. Feel like he's going to be more expensive. He's a little bit older, right? CGJ is in the perfect place to extend him if you're the Eagles. That's your safety for the future.
Younger.
Epps looked really good last night too, man. He gets up there in the run. I love that.
He hasn't been a negative. I haven't seen him trailing in coverage. I haven't seen any stupid mistake. Like, he's been, if you don't notice Marcus Epps, to me, that's a positive.
Exactly. And one other thing with the secondary, I don't know if that was just a one-off instance that I saw there, but I saw like Darius Slay laughing with Terry McLaurin, and then I saw CGJ basically jawing at Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was Darius Slay actually sharing a laugh, whatever the case may be, but they need to take on the personality of CGJ a little bit more because that dude's a dog.
Yeah, no,
He's a
I
dog,
agree with
man.
you. I agree with you 100%, but a lot of negatives, few positives. That does not mean the Eagles are in trouble. I need everybody to understand.
Gotta relax.
Relax. Take
we
a
move
breath.
to the Colts.
I believe the line is opened up at 7.5 point favorites.
I'll take that.
I would take it. I would take it right now.
Yeah. Let's get we've seen Matt Ryan before, right? It's going to be a fun one, and I do expect the Eagles to come out highly motivated this upcoming weekend.
Well, we'll talk about that later in the week, and obviously on Sunday on the pregame show. But that's the biggest thing. That honestly, in a day or two, I'm going to be a little bit like oddly excited about the loss, because I'm going to be super excited to see how this team bounces back. It's going to tell you a lot about them, Scotty, how they bounce back on Sunday. It really will. So see how they stay focused. I thought it was awesome what A.J. Brown had to say. He had a smile on his face. And like, look, he goes, if you're expecting
I agree with it.
Brown right now, man, that's not who I am. He goes, no more 17-0 talk. That we get that out of the way. And I think it's a double-edged sword. I
agree with it.
I think it was stupid for people to be like, the Eagles need to lose a game. Like, I think that was stupid. But I also think there is somewhat of positivity towards them getting that out of the way and knowing what it feels like and having that motivation moving forward, especially against a division rival, a team you were supposed to beat.
The way I looked at that, in a similar sense to A.J. Brown almost, now other teams see the Eagles can bleed. They were able to shed blood, right? The Eagles see that too. And I think that makes them better. I think that puts them in a better mindset. Not to say if they go undefeated, they're in a worse spot than if they lose a game in week 11 or week 10, whatever the case may be. I just think these are things that can help build character, help build winning tendencies for the future. Adversity, right? We needed to face some adversity throughout this season, and there it was last night. You hope that they build on that. Don't let this happen again. But as Sam said there in the comments, as you've said, it's any given Sunday, man, especially in the division. I feel a little foolish on the pregame show yesterday. I was, talking a little bit. Maybe that's on me, though. That's not the Eagles. That's on me. No. Given lofty expectations, right? But that's where we're at when we're talking about an 8-0 team, a 9-0 team, right? Lofty expectations.
Well, no, and I think last night was a perfect example of we as the fans are allowed to have that mindset and not look past Washington, but understand what you like, Scotty. That's the problem, right? When we come on here and you lay out dit, as crazy as it sounds, you lay out dit, and they literally do the opposite of all three things, and they lose. You had 10 days to prepare. Both game plans on both sides of the ball sucked. Too many turnovers, mental mistakes, and that's what cost you a win against a lesser talented team. If anyone wants to lose as an 11.5 point favorite, that is the script to do so.
There you go.
It will not be a trend going forward. I can promise you that. Eyes are going to be on Jonathan Gannon. Eyes are going to be on Nick Sirianni.
As they should.
And eyes will be on Jalen Hurts. Although he was not a problem in this game, he needs to be a big reason in why they are able to push this one to the side and bounce back next week. I think he'll be able to do that as the leader he is. Scotty, I think that's going to wrap up. This isn't even a show here on DSM. This was just a little therapy session for Eagles fans here.
We're here for you guys. We're
breaking down the first loss. It's been a while, man. It was almost a full calendar year since they lost a regular season game. So had to get on here and break it down and vent a little bit with everybody. But it was a lot of fun, and hopefully we don't have too many more of these throughout the rest of the season. We have a lot more Victory Mondays on the horizon, and I think we're going to do so, Scotty. You guys, check us out all on Twitter at DSM_media. Check out our pin tweet if you guys want to be involved in the giveaway still. We are still running that through the end of November for Eagles tickets
Yep.
on December 4th to the Titans game at the Link, 1 o'clock. We're also raffling off a Bryce Harper World Series patch jersey once we surpass 800 subscribers. So subscribe, comment hashtag DSM on the video, send it to your friends, family, whatever you got to do to get us to one of those tiers. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. For myself, for Scotty, have a great rest of your Tuesday, and go Birds.
Go Birds.
And Philadelphia has it.